Okay, good evening, everyone. So in the last session, we have seen like how to enable multi-factor authentication, and also we have seen how to create a custom password policy on the AWS account. The advantage of these two are whenever a new user getting created, they must follow the newly applied customized password policy so that our accounts will be in a secure mode. Also, the multi-factor authentication is the authentication mechanism whenever you try to log in along with the username and password. It will ask you to enter a dynamically changing code so that nobody can guess that dynamically changing code at any cost, and no unauthorized persons can log into your AWS account. And the important recommendation is always we must enable multi-factor authentication on the root user account. If you recollect, in the last session, while we logging in to the AWS account, I mentioned that there are two types of user accounts available, right? What are those? One is a root user account, and the second one is IAM user account. Root user and IAM user. These are the two types of users available. Root user is the owner of the AWS account. IAM user. What is the use of the IAM user is whenever a new employee joined in your account, in your organization, or an existing employee wants to access the same AWS account, instead of sharing the sorry, instead of sharing the common credentials like same email ID and password along with multiple employees, we will create an individual user account for every employee. Let us say you have five users: user one, user two, user three, and user four. Also, let us say user five. In your company, there are five users, and all the five users wants to access the AWS account. As of now, what is the option? Sharing the root user email address and password. The problem here is we cannot track which user is doing what kind of actions. And the second one is all these five users will get full administration control. They can do anything, whatever they want. But the recommendation is always least privileged access. Whatever the access level the user requires, just assign such permissions only. Never ever assign unnecessary permissions to any user. So now we are going to talk about our first service called IAM, Identity Access Management. What is the use of this IAM service? This IAM service can be used to control the security of your AWS account and all your AWS resources, which means you can decide which user can access what services also. For understanding purpose, what I do is let me mention few services. Let us say EC2 is one service, IAM is another service, S3, RDS. Just I'm listing out few services. Let us say CloudWatch. Now I have a requirement. What is the requirement? The user one should access the EC2 with full access. I want to allow user one to access the EC2 service with full permissions, but not any other service. I want to restrict the user one to access EC2 service with full control, but not any other service. Let us say user 5. User 5 requires full access on all AWS resources, because depending on their user's role or user's work, we have to give different level of access to each and every user. That is possible using the IAM service. In this IAM service, we are going to talk about four different components, the major components, four. What are those? The first one is user, second one is a group, the third one is a policy or a policies, and the fourth one is a role. These are the four important things which we must cover in the IAM topic. So first thing, what is a user? What is a user? User is an individual account by using which an employee can log into the AWS account, right? User account is an account which we can allow the user or an employee to log into the AWS account. Okay, so here, let us say we created one user called user one. Whatever the user accounts we create, they are known as IAM users. There will be only one root user. You can't create multiple root users, first point. Second one, root user is not recommended for day-to-day activities. The root user is to set up the AWS account initially, like initial configuration purpose, we need to use the root user. Apart from that, always we use IAM users only. And here, whenever an IAM user got created, or any user, whether a root user or a new IAM user, every user can get two different types of access. There are two types of access, or we can say access types. The first one is management console access. And the second one is programmatic access. Two types of access. What is the meaning of that? The way how they can log in and they can use the AWS services. Let us say here there is a place A and there is a place B. You want to travel from A to B. What is the mode of transport? There are different modes, right? You can go by walk, or you can use a bus, or you can use a car, or you can use your bike. These are the different ways that you can travel from point A to point B. The same way, every user in AWS can get either a management console access type or a programmatic access type, or they can get both type of access also. That depends on their requirement. Okay, now what exactly these two types of access are? Management console access means the user can use the browser to log into the AWS account, or I can say graphical user interface like GUI, or a browser, not a graphical user interface. I can say a browser, like how we logged in as a root user, right? That is what the management console access. Programmatic access means the programmatic access user can access the AWS account using a CLI, SDK, or any other development tools. CLI means command line interface. You can open the command prompt. By using the commands, you can create a server, you can create a storage, you can delete existing things and all. SDK means software development kits, which is used by the developers, the IDEs. By using the IDEs, they can directly, there also they use some kind of programming. With the help of programming, they can control the AWS accounts. Development tools, any other development tools like SDK, there are a number of development tools, they can use anything. And whenever we create a user with management console access type, the user will get username and a password, combination called username and password, which can be used to log into the AWS account. Whereas for the programmatic access type of a user, there is no username and password. Instead of username and password, they will get access key and a secret access key. Access key and secret key. What is the use of the programmatic access is in the real time, whenever you are doing some kind of automation, especially for DevOps people, they do some kind of, they will run some kind of automation scripts, and they need to communicate with the AWS resources. Instead of using the username and password, they will use access key and secret access key. access key and, or we can say access key ID and secret access key. So that without sharing the username and password, without storing the username and password on any other machines, they use this access key and secret access key to log in and to communicate with the AWS accounts. This is about the users. We will create the users and we will check everything. And whenever a new user, let us say I created a new user with all default settings, a new IAM user will get no access by default. If I create a new IAM user with all default options, without assigning any extra options, he will get no access. What is the meaning of a no access? Do you think he cannot log in? No, he can log in. There is no restriction. He can log in, but he will get no read permission. Forget about write. Even he can't read the data. If someone asks you like, what are the default permissions for an IAM user? It's a no permissions. No access will be provided by default to any new IAM user. Okay. Now, let us say in your organization, there is a team called a dev team, development team. Okay. In which 6 employees are there. These 6 employees belongs to dev team. They are working on the same project and all. What does that mean? All these 6 people should get the same set level of access, same kind of a permissions. So generally, how can we provide the permissions to any user is with the help of a policy. What is a policy? Policy means a set of instructions. Policy means a set of instructions. And coming to IAM policy is also a set of instructions, but it is made up of JSON format. It is a document written in JSON format. No need to learn the JSON and all. I will show you. So how can you provide is by attaching a policy to the user, we can provide permissions to the users. This policy contains all the permissions required to the user. And this policy is written in JSON format. So here, first we need to create a policy in which we need to include all the permissions required for the development users. And then we need to create 6 users like user 2, user 3, user 4, 5, and 6. Then we need to attach or we need to apply the same policy to all the 6 users, which will take a huge amount of time or repetitive task. The same task we have to repeat again and again. So here, to make the administration simple, there is a concept called group. There is a concept called group. What is that? First, I will create a group. I will name it as a dev group or development team or something. And on that, I will apply a policy on the group. Instead of a user, I will attach a policy on the group. Then I will place all the users like this. Whoever is a part of so and so group will get all the permissions applied on that group. The advantage is after 5 months, let us say a new employee joined to the development team and he needs the same kind of access permissions that the existing team members already have. What I can do, I create a new user called user 7 and simply I will place that user in the group. What happens? Automatically the user 7 will get the same kind of permissions that which already available for other team members. So we covered theoretically we covered user, group, and policy. User is an account which by using which the employees can log into the AWS account. And whenever you want to provide some permissions to such users, we use a concept called a policy. Policy is written in JSON format, JavaScript object notation. But don't worry, we have a policy simulators. We can select what all permissions we need, and that JSON code will be automatically generated. Just we have to copy paste. And to make the administration simple, there is a concept called a grouping. So we can create a separate group for each and every team, and we will group all the team members into the same group. Instead of applying the permissions to individual user, we can apply the permissions on the group itself, so that all the users will get the same set of access permissions. And then there is a fourth one, right? Roles. Theoretically, we can discuss now, but to do the practicals about the roles, we have to wait for some time. At least we need to complete two different services to check how to do the practicals for the roles. Let us say here there is a server. There is a server, right? And here there is a storage. There is a storage called S3. And here there is a user. Is a user. Now I want this user to log into the S3 storage. We call it as a S3 bucket to upload some files. Then what I have to do, I have to create a policy. And in this policy, I have to apply S3 full access permissions, so that this user can connect to the S3 bucket and he can upload all the data. He can store, he can delete, he can write, and all the things. Now, in this EC2, it is a server. Actually, it is a server. It is a storage. Now, this user logged into this server and he wants to download some data from the same S3 bucket. Then what he do? He opens a browser or something. He will connect using his credentials, user one, username and password. He can download the data into the EC2 server. Up to here, no worries. Everybody can understand easily. But in this server, I am running a small software or a tool which can automatically connect to the storage to upload or download the data. So this tool also requires some set of authentication mechanism, right? Authentication and authorization. This user one might left the company after few years or few months. So this user credentials cannot be used in this particular server. So here what we can do is to provide a permissions or access permissions to a user, we use a policy to provide some access permissions to the services, or we can say this is resource one and this is resource two. This is resource 2 and this is resource 1. If you want to allow resource 1 to access the resource 2, then the permissions to be provided with the help of a role. What exactly this role contains? This role also contains a policy only, but you cannot apply the policy directly to the resources, so that we will include the policy into the role. What is the role? The role will convert, or it will assume that, okay, so and so permissions are for EC2 server, or so and so permissions are for S3 bucket, so on. In a simple way, I can say, let us say you purchased a mobile phone in India, right? You will get an Indian plug, which you by using which you can use for charging and all. What if you travel to US? You can't use the same same kind of same power plug, because in US they have a different types of a sockets. What you do, you will use something called a connector, right? Converter, which will convert that Indian plug into a US plug. The same way here, the policies cannot be applied on the resource directly. So we use a role, we will include the policy into the role, and we will apply role on the resources, so that the resource one can communicate with resource two, or we can provide some permissions to resource one, so that the resource one can access resource two. Okay, right. So now what we do is let's do some hands-on, so that you will get some more clarity. Still, if you are unable to understand after the hands-on, then just you can ask me the questions. So first, what we do is, I said by default, a new user will get no permissions, right? First, let us try that. What I do, create a new IAM. Okay, first what we do is, let us focus on management console access type. Later, we will see the programmatic access. If you remember, I mentioned that every user can get two types of access. One is a management console access, and the second one is a programmatic access. What is a management console access? The user can log into the AWS account using the browser, using the browser. Okay, so here let us create a new IAM user. I will say user one with default options. I don't want to assign any extra permissions. Then observe the access level provided to the user one. Means as an administrator, I will create user one for you. And you have to verify what permissions you receive. But here we are doing a practice, right? So first I will act as an administrator and then I will act as a user one also because I can't get multiple people to test from different machines and I can't share that screen, right? So I will act as an admin and I will act as a user one. Whenever I use a Chrome browser, which means I logged in as a root user. Whenever I use a Microsoft Edge, that means I am logging in as an IAM user. Okay, so here already I logged into my AWS account with the root user. And first, let me switch to the IAM service. And already I mentioned that IAM is a global service, which is not a region specific. See here how many users are available? Zero. So on the left side, click on users under access management and click on create user, username, user one. And what type of access we are planning to provide? Management console access. So you must select this checkbox. If you don't select this checkbox, what happens here is the user will be created with no access type. Means he has like kind of you have a car, but there is no road or there is no petrol to travel. So you must select this checkbox to provide a management console access type. And what type of user we are creating? IAM user. So here select I want to create an IAM user. Remember, I'm acting as an admin. For some time, assume that you are the user one. You are the user one, and I'm creating this user account for you to log into the AWS account. How I can share these details? I will share on email in the real time. The moment once I create the user account, I will share the details over the email. So every user requires a console password to log in using management console. So here there are two different options. Auto generated password. Password will be automatically generated, or I can enter the password manually and I can share the password with the user. Now I will share auto generated password. The moment once I click on create user, password will be generated and I can see the password. As an admin, I can see your password. Remember that. Then there is an option which is recommended. What is this? User must create a new password at next sign in. So as an admin, I will see your password at the time of your IAM user account creation, which means I know your username and password, which is not a proper way, right? That's why whenever I select this checkbox, whenever I select this checkbox, the IAM user means you are forced to change the password whenever you log in for the very next time. Without changing the password, you cannot continue. That's the use of this particular checkbox. Select this checkbox, click on next. Permission options. We can assign permissions to users in three different ways. Already I mentioned two out of those. One is attach a policy directly, which I'm not doing now. Then we can copy the permissions from an existing IAM user. Just you can copy, you can replicate the permissions, add user to group. But I'm not going to provide any additional permissions in this particular task. Click on next. Username user one, console password type auto generated, require password reset yes, permission summary. Being an administrator, I did not provided any extra permissions. click on create user, and the user account got created. So here, what all the details are getting displayed here? One is console sign in URL. Let me note down because these are the things which I have to share with the user one. So IAM users are not using aws.amazon.com. I will explain what it is. What is the username and what is the password? Here is the password. You can click on show. Let me copy, and this is the password. So now I will log in as user one. Now I am going to act as a user one. So I will share those details. I will share those details with user one, and then user one has to log in. How to log in generally? aws.amazon.com. This is the way we know, right? This is the way we know. So being an IAM user, how I am supposed to log in is the same way, but which is a little bit difficult for me to log in. I will show you why. See here. Here I need to enter an account ID or alias. We don't know what alias is. I will show that also in the coming sessions. Account ID. What is the account ID? So being an administrator, I have to share this 12-digit number, which is difficult to remember, right? That's why easiest way is we have to share a sign-in URL. Actually, this is the account ID. What exactly happens here is, being an IAM user, I will enter that URL. Happen. The account ID is pre-filled. That is the only difference. IAM username, user one. And what is the password? This is my password. Click on sign in. I am logging in as user one. What happened here? Your account password has expired or requires a reset. Why? At the time of creation, administrator selected the checkbox that the password must be changed at the next login. That's why he must change the password. Without changing the password, he cannot continue. Old password means the one which we use to log in right now. Then I have to enter my own password so that nobody else knows what is my current password. Click on confirm password change. And from now onwards, the old password will not work because being a user one, I have set my own password and my account is secure. So I'm logging in. What happened here? Access denied. Access denied. Being a user one, I was able to log in, right? But okay, let me do one thing. So as of now, we know only one service called IAM. So how to know that with which user I logged in? See here on top right corner, what is the username you can see? User one means here I am the user one. So here, let me switch to IAM service. Let me navigate to IAM service just to confirm that user one will get no permissions. Forget about write. Even he can't read the data. See here, access denied. Let me go to users. I can't see that user one exists, which means by default, a new user will get no permissions. Now let me log out. Okay, done. So next thing, what I want to do is I want to create another user called user 2 this time, and provide full access on all AWS services like administrator. Means I want to create user 2 as administrator because he belongs to cloud admin team and he wants to create, delete, and all. So what he has to do, being an administrator, what we have to do, assign a policy with admin access. The policy which can provide or which can offer admin access to be attached to this user too. Actually, there are different types. One is attach a policy, add to a group, or a copy permissions. There are three different ways that we can provide we can assign permissions to the user. But as of now, we don't have any groups yet. We don't have any user with administrator access to copy the permission. So only way right now I can do is attach a policy. Let's do this. So I logged it because I am the administrator now. I'm switching back to administrator mode and I'm going to act as an administrator, right? And being an administrator, I want to create user two. How to do that? Navigate to the IAM service. Procedure is the same, but only difference is assign a policy. I will show you how to do that. Click on user section, click on create user. Username is going to be user2. Provide user access to the AWS management console. Select this checkbox. And I would like to select I want to create an IAM user. Already we have tested auto-generated password option. Now I will select custom password, means being an administrator, I can set a password for the user, like something like password at the rate 123 or company name at the rate 123 is going to be the default password in most of the organizations. Then I will select this checkbox so that even though I know the password, even though I know the password of the user, he's going to change the very next minute whenever he log in for the first time. But already we tested this option to save time. I don't want to select this checkbox now. Means this user two is not forced to change the password. The password change is optional. Is going to be the optional for user two. Click on next. So we don't have any user, sorry, we don't have any group to add this user so that he should get administrator access. So there is no way of option. There is no way that we can use this feature. Copy permissions means if I select user one, whatever the permissions available to user one will be applied to user two, which is not fulfilling the actual requirements because user one has no permissions and user two should get administrator access. So I will select the third option called attach policies directly. And you can observe here, there are 1,388 policies available already by default, which are created and managed by AWS. You can see AWS managed and here administrator access. By name, by seeing the name, I can say, okay, this policy can provide full access to the users. But how can we confirm or how a policy looks like, right? That is the most important one. How to view what exactly this policy contains is, you can see some small plus icon here, right? Click on that plus so that it will be expanded and you can see the JSON which is available on this particular policy. Just let me copy and let me paste in the notepad just to analyze what exactly it is, what it contains. This is the actual statement. This is actually related to the permissions. Okay, what is the effect? Allow. Actually, there are two types of effects. One is allow and the second one is a deny. Allow means the user will be allowed. The user will be allowed to perform what actions? Star indicates all. Star indicates all. The user is allowed to perform all actions on all resources. Means on all services. In each service, there might be hundreds and thousands of resources. Star includes everything. Whoever the user is attached with this policy will be allowed to perform all actions on all resources. That is the meaning of this particular policy. Just a simple English statements. JSON is nothing but a simple English statements, easy to understand. We will see how to create our own IAM policy also. Okay, right. So mostly the next task we will do that. Select administrator access. Just scroll down, click on next. So there is a concept called a tags. Okay, to any user, you can add up to 50 tags. What exactly the tag is? What is the meaning of a tag? Tag is for identification purpose, right? Okay, let us say tag is a key value pair. It is a pair of key and value. Tag is nothing but a pair of key and value. Let me explain what exactly the key and what exactly the value. Let us say if I ask you, what is your name? That is the key. And you will say your actual name. That is the value. Let me explain. Uh, Tag is a key value pair. Example, location, Hyderabad. This is what the tag is. Whenever you're traveling, right, you will use some tags on your luggage. You write your name, mobile number, address, right? Name is a key. Your name, your actual name is the value. Mobile number is the key, and the actual 10-digit number is a value. Address is the key. The actual address is the value. See here, this is the key where tag is a key value pair. Example, location, Hyderabad. So here, in the case of users, how we can use is, I can say team, admin team, and he location, he belongs to Hyderabad, and his email address, user2@gmail.com, and a mobile number like this, we can create the user. So that by seeing the tags, we can understand or we can get some information about the user. Like that, you can add up to 50 tags. For every user, you can add up to 50 tags. Now, user 2 got created, right? Now, what we have to do, log in as user 2 and verify that he has full access on all AWS services because we made him as an administrator, right? Let us verify. How to do that? There is a sign in. Yeah, sign into console. The sign in link is going to be the same for all IAM users. So here I need to enter the account ID. IAM username is user2. Password, I know the password. Click on sign in. At the time of account creation, user did not select the checkbox to change the password. That's why it will not force me to change. Okay. Now, what all we have to do, we need to verify whether the user 2 got full permissions on all services or not. First, what we do, we will check IAM service. Click on IAM service, navigate to IAM. Can you see the information? Yes, which means he got read access. He got read access. User 2 got read access. But I want to check whether he got the right action, right permissions or not. How can we do that? By creating a new user or by deleting an existing user, we can do that, right? For that, what I do is I will create another user. Here I logged in as user 2, and as a user 2, I'm creating another user. If I am able to create, which means yes, user 2 got full permissions. But we tested on only one service, right? At least I need to check on two different services. How to do that? I will go to another service called EC2, which we don't know yet. Just you can go to any service, try to create something or try to delete some existing things. Okay, so here I will go to something called security groups, which is easy to create. I will say test one, description test one, scroll down and click on create. See here, it got created. Let me quick check test one. Means the user 2 is able to perform all actions on any service, which means the user 2 got full permissions on all resources. Full permissions on all resources. Okay. How can we restrict a user only to perform read actions on IAM service? So here I can say create a user called user3 and assign read only access on IAM service using custom policy. Don't use a default policy. By default, there is a policy exist, but I don't want to use it. Why? Why? Because I want to show you how to create our own policies also. Okay, right. First step, what I do is create an IAM policy, and I will name it as read only access on IAM. First create it, then create IAM user called user3 and attach the above custom policy. Instead of assigning, instead of assigning the default AWS policy, we will check this. Then what we have to do, log in as user3 and verify that the user got read-only access on IAM service only. Read-only access on IAM service only. By this way, we can see how can we create our own policies also. We can check how can we create our own policies, IAM policy. Okay, first, this is the one which we are going to do. Create an IAM policy. Read-only access, IAM is going to be the name. But you guys might said, okay, I don't know what is a JSON. I can't write a JSON script and all, right? Yes, no need to write. We have a policy simulator by using which we can generate the policy. Okay, let us do that. So here I logged in as IAM user, sorry, root user. You can check here. If you log in with an IAM user, you can see the username. If you logged in as a root user, you can see the account name. So first thing, like navigate to the IAM service. Just navigate. Then under access management, there is one option called policies. You can see there are no custom policies or customer policies, the policies which were created by customer. Okay, before getting into this, in the IAM dashboard, you can see something called account alias, right? What is this? A name for your account ID. Just click on create here. Let me show you. I will say Terraskel create alias. What happens from now onwards, whenever the IAM user is trying to log in, he can enter the account alias instead of account ID. It is a little bit difficult to remember 12-digit number, right? But it is easy to remember a meaningful name. Next time, whenever we log in, I will use account alias to log in. Okay, going back to the policy, here click on policies. These are the policies managed by AWS. Now I want to create a new policy here. Click on create policy. Here you can see visual and JSON. If I click JSON, you can write everything. You can write the piece of code here for JSON policy, but I don't know like how, assume I don't know like how to write a JSON code and all. So click on visual here, right? And now what is our goal? Providing access permissions on IAM service, and the permissions are going to be read only. So here, select a service means on which service you would like to provide the permissions. Service, just select IAM. I have selected IAM service. What is the effect here? Allow means I want to allow the users to perform what actions? Read actions. If you want to give full permissions, select this checkbox, all IAM actions. But I don't want to give full permissions. I want to provide list and read. So here, all list actions, read, all read actions. These many actions are there, all list and all read. I am not selecting write. So that, and resources. On what resources? Only these: group, access report, instance profile, MFA. These are the resources users. So here I will select all resources, or you can allow the user to perform all actions on a specific resource also, like only on users or only on groups or only on policies also is possible. But here I select all resources, not all actions, just list and read. And if you click JSON, you can see the policy got automatically generated based on the options we have selected. And you can see IAM get, IAM list, get list. You can't see any action like write, delete kind of a thing. And on what resource? Star means all resources. This this policy can provide these actions to be executed on all resources of IAM service. Okay, now click on next. Policy details, policy name. Let me copy the name of the policy. This is the name. You can give any name, that doesn't matter. Even if you give ABC, that works. Description, or you can say provides read only access on IAM service. You can see service is IAM, access level, list and read. It is not providing write, delete or something on all resources. Click on create policy. The policy got created, and now next step, create user 3 and attach this policy to the user 3 so that whatever the permissions included in this policy will be applied on user 3. Let's do that. So go to user section, click on create user, user 3. This one to allow user to access using management console or console access. I want to create an IAM user. Let me select a custom password so that easy for me to remember. Next. So attach policies directly. So here, where is our policy? Just in this, I will type IAM. So whatever the policy name contains IAM will be displayed here. See here, there is one thing called IAM read-only access, but this is AWS managed. If I click plus, you can see it is in a different way. But that also provides read-only access on the IAM service. See here, get star, list star. Whatever the action started with the get and list will be allowed. But what we have done in the custom policy, this is our custom policy. We have included everything. Get star. Star means anything after get. List. Simulate. See here. Same thing in a different way. Okay, now let me select the custom policy which we created like this. Select read only access IAM, and you can see customer managed means the customer created this policy. Next, create user. User 3 got created. Now I'm going to act as a user 3. I'm going to act as a user 3. I will log in to the AWS account and I will verify that I got read only access on IAM service only. So if you remember, I created an alias, right? So instead of entering the account ID, from now onwards, I can use alias. Username is user3, password. Let me enter the password. See here, I logged in as user3. Now what I do is first I go to EC2 service, but we haven't given any permissions on EC2 service for this user3. Let me check. Let me go to security groups. Can I see? No, you are not authorized to perform this operation. Or let me go to a different service called S3, anything. Let me try, because we need to make sure that this user did not get any unnecessary permissions. Okay, let me go to general purpose buckets here, access denied. Let me click on something, access denied. Now let me switch to IAM service. So this user 3 should be able to list and read. Okay, what is the difference between the list and read? What is the difference between list and read? Any idea? Okay, so let me click on use. This is what, if I click on users, I can see user 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the list. This is the list permission. Read permissions means if I click on the user, I can see the information about so and so user. So permissions, loading, tags, no, what we call that, no tags for this user. He is not a part of any group. If I click on permission, this user is attached with what policies or what permissions that is available here. That is the difference between list and read. So you can see here, user 3 is able to see the list of users. At the same time, we need to make sure that he cannot create a new user. Let me try to create a new user. Access denied. What is the error? You don't have permission to perform an action called IAM create user. Whenever I click on create user in the backend, there is an action called IAM colon create user, which is not available for my user 3 account. And also you can see something called Amazon Q, right? This is AWS kind of AI assistant. If I click over there, it will display the possible reasons for this error. So user was not created, is not, what is the reason? User 3 is not authorized to perform. So you don't have sufficient permissions to diagnose with Amazon Q. Means even the user 3 doesn't have permissions to use Amazon Q service. Okay, so here we confirm that user 3 cannot create a user, but at least can he able to delete a user? Let me try to delete. So let me try to delete user 2, delete. Okay, it seems I got an dialog box to type confirm to delete, and even I got the delete user button. If this user got deleted means whatever the policy we created is absolutely wrong. What happened? Access denied means user 3 cannot create a user or cannot delete a user, delete an existing user. This is how we can create our own policies also. Amazon is offering you all possible policies, but as per your organizational requirements, you might have to create a different policies and all, right? That is also possible with the help of a JSON. Still, we need to cover a few other scenarios, like assigning the permissions with the help of a group, copy the permissions from an existing user, right? Before getting into that, if you guys have any questions till now, just let me know so that we can take up those questions and then we can continue forward. Okay, for today also just bear with this go-to meeting. So mostly tonight I will create a new meeting link on Zoom and I will share that Zoom meeting link over email and your registered mobile numbers. Okay, so that from tomorrow just we guys can connect on Zoom, which is more user friendly and easy to use. Directly you can use chat box and you can unmute and all, you can do all the things. Okay, anybody having any questions like access types of a user, IAM user versus root user, policies, attaching a policy, existing policy, creating our own password policy? If you guys have any questions, just let me know so that we can take up those questions and we can discuss. Anybody? Okay, it seems everyone is clear till now. Okay, we are in the starting stage, so I don't want to uh, cover multiple things in a single session. Initially, for the first 1 week or 10 days, let's go with just 1 hour session only. Later on, just we can extend like 10 minutes, 15 minutes for Q&A and all. But I don't think more than 1 hour might get your attention. You feel bored. Okay, so if you guys are clear, we can stop the session here. I will up. Okay, I forgot to share the links and all. Okay, so I will do one thing. I will create some Google Drive link or something or a Google Classroom, and I will upload the tasks sheet so that you have to complete those things on your own, like this kind of this one. Like task one is going to create a new user with default option. What should be the outcome? What you have to verify? Everything I will create a kind of an assignment. So while you are doing the practicals, just complete those things first, and then you can have some extra additional things like in a different multiple combinations, like create a user with permission on IAM read only and EC2 read only, or IAM read only and something else full control, or you can try with deny actions also. All those things we will cover in the tomorrow session, like how to use a deny, what will happen if we apply allow permission and deny permission to the same user, what will have the priority, what is going to be the force, right? All these things we will cover in the tomorrow session, and we can conclude the IAM topic. Okay, right. So it seems everyone is clear. Mostly expect an email by tomorrow morning with a new meeting link and a Google Classroom link in which we can share the class notes or especially the task sheet, like kind of assignments which you guys have to complete. And remember one thing, if you don't complete the, I mean, if you are not doing the practice, you can't remember the concepts. Definitely you can forget within like 1 week. Okay. Right. So you guys can leave if you have no questions. If you have any questions, you can wait and you can ask me the questions. Thank you, everyone. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay, so it seems everyone is clear. I'm not getting any questions or anything. So let us stop the session here and let's continue tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. We'll meet in the tomorrow session.